I always wanted to be a mum. From 10, 11 years old, it was always at the forefront of whatever I did. I remember a lot of friends were talking about uni and stuff like that, and I was always like, I want to be a stay-at-home mum. Like, I just always wanted to be a mum, and whether that was with my own or via adoption, surrogacy, there were so many options. So I was very positive that either way I was going to become a mum. Hi, my name is Savannah May. I am 29 years old and I'm from Newcastle. I'm a mum of soon-to-be 2. I have a 2-year-old who was conceived via IVF in 2022, and the newest bub was conceived naturally, which was a massive shock, a great surprise for my husband and I. We started trying in about 2019, not taking it too seriously. We didn't want to put any pressure on. And when it didn't happen, we went down the IVF route. And even though it wasn't 100% we'd fall, my doctor was so positive that we would get a baby out of this. We went through 2 rounds of IVF. The first one failed, and then the second one was successful. And although it was a really hard pregnancy, we delivered, and it was just the absolute best day of my life. I couldn't believe it. I knew that carrying a baby would be hard. I think it's hard for even healthy, normal women, but it was extremely hard being a woman with CF. I felt like I couldn't move off the lounge because I was so scared to lose that embryo. I used to exercise a lot and keep myself fit to keep my lungs clear. And locking myself inside for 9 months definitely didn't help, as well as the strain of pregnancy on my health was a lot. I was not on Trikafta at the time. It was definitely not easy. It was 100% worth it. I'd do it 100 times over. The second you fall pregnant, everything changes. With medication I used to take willy-nilly. Now I was researching even Creon. Will Creon have an effect on the baby? Even something like getting a PICC line, I was like, oh, is this going to affect the baby? And they're like, no. But I was like, I just had to always think about the baby as well. It's no longer about you. For me, it was about growing that baby. And I put my health on the line a few times because I was so scared of side effects of tobramycin or side effects of starting this new drug, Trikafta, which I declined at the time. I wish I had gotten on it at the time, but I did deny it because I just was so focused on keeping this baby healthy. You have to get a balance, and that's something that I never really thought about before I fell pregnant. I just thought I'd be pregnant and it'll all be fine. I didn't think about the strain and the hospital admissions and all the medications. It was very hard to carry my baby. I had severe morning sickness from 6 weeks till 38 weeks when I delivered. I lost all my weight because I was throwing up every day. I caught infections that I'd never gotten before. I was wheezy, I was coughing. I had multiple hospital stays. We opted for a C-section just because I was so sick at the time. They said I couldn't possibly go through labour with how fatigued I already was before even starting labour. We'd gone through so many medical procedures to just get bub. I thought, what's one more? Except it was a really happy medical procedure. It wasn't, oh, we're going to try and stop this bleeding in your lungs. It's a bit risky. It's like, you're going to get your baby after this one. The first 6 weeks postpartum were great. I sort of put my health that was not bouncing back as quick as I thought down to, oh, I have a newborn and I'm tired and I'm sleep deprived, but I just knew something else was wrong because I was wheezing, which I had never done before, and I was getting like hot sweats. I just knew I was also dropping weight really, really quickly. So I done a sputum and they said, oh my God, Savannah, we're so sorry you've gotten Bacolia multivorans, which is something that I'd never grown before. I'd only ever grown Staph and Pseudomonas. And that was like my first really scary bug. And I just couldn't believe that it was happening at 6 weeks postpartum. Like, looked at my baby and I was like, oh my God, am I not going to see my baby's second birthday, which as a new mum was the most devastating thing in the world. That was probably the first time that my mental health did start really playing up, and I'd always had really good mental health. Had really bad hemoptysis in 2020, and then when I got this bug, it was very daunting. And after doing a bit more research and my doctors reassuring me, they were so confident. They were like, nope, you're gonna knock this on the head. And after 3 months of nebs, treatments, IVs, we did knock it on the head. They also said to me at the time, you need to get on this new drug. I just was so distracted with baby and becoming a mum. I was like, yeah, I will. And then as soon as this bug came, I went, oh, I need to get on it now, like get me on it now. And they did, they'd done a really quick turnaround. And my first 2 days on Trikafta, I took a breath that I'd never taken before. And it was wild because I was very pessimistic about it. I was like, there's no way. Everyone said, oh, a drug will come one day, a drug will come one day. And I was like, no, it's been, 26 years, no drugs are coming. And then suddenly it was just like, oh wow, no, this one's really good. And it has been. Since starting Trikafta, I had heard that more CF women were falling pregnant naturally, but I never thought it would happen to us. Because we went through IVF and we tried for so long, I was like, there's no way this drug is doing this. And to our surprise, we done a pregnancy test, and to see a line, knowing we did it all on our own, was wild. So we had Trikafta, I think, to thank for that, definitely. When I fell with IVF, I was calling them within the hour, it's stuck, I'm pregnant. And whereas this one, falling natural and being my second baby, it's a lot more casual. I'm like, yeah, like, by the way, I'm pregnant. They're like, whoa, what? Like, which has been funny, the difference between first pregnancy and second pregnancy. I knew that if I could get through my first pregnancy with no Trikafta and how sick I was and the decline, now I know this pregnancy, it's already going a lot smoother, so they're not as worried about me this time. I'm pretty lucky in that since starting Trikafta, I'm not doing much CF treatments anymore. I used to do Pulmazine every day, cocktail of drugs every day. CF still is in my life. Creon, having high fat, stuff like that every morning. And then just getting out and trying to be as active as possible. I might not be able to work out and get my lungs pumping as much. So just being out in nature, just little things like that. In our daily routine, we sneak in little CF treatments where we can. I was a cheerleader professionally for 3 years with the Knights. I had always wanted to be involved in the NRL in some way. I definitely couldn't play. I wasn't built to be a player, but I was a dancer and a performer, so I always wanted to join their cheerleading squad. In 2020, I did audition and was successful in making the team. It was so nice to be in an environment where, you would put your makeup on and big hair and costumes and sparkly, and it sort of masked what was going on at home where I was sick and pale and rotting away in the hospital beds. It was sort of like being in an alter ego where there was beautiful costumes and you were dancing and smiling, and it was really cool. It was like and you were, dancing in front of 30,000 people at home games. So it was such an amazing feeling. Although on the outside it looked really glamorous and it was really intense training, which I sort of underestimated. I sort of saw the sidelines and it looked very glamorous, and it was, but it was also a lot of hard work behind the scenes. And it was one of the best things I've ever done. It was so exciting, and to do it in my hometown was even more special. My husband is amazing. He is working at the moment and allows for me to be at home with Elijah full time, so to just spend every minute with him has been so amazing. We spend a lot of our time doing lots of cooking and gardening, just being outside as much as we can. He's a very busy 2-year-old. We just live a very lucky life. Usually try and get down the beach as often as we can. Lots of swimming, my dad was a surfer, so he always was trying to get me on a board. When we first found out that I had CF and they said that salt's such a good therapy. Dad was a surfboard maker, so he's like, that's what we live and breathe. So we were straight down to the beach and have just spent every day there since. We love the beach, we love the salt in the air, and for me, there's nothing better than diving under the water and getting that salt hit and refresh. And I feel like no matter what, like if I do that, I can take on anything. Before Trikafta and before I had Elijah, I didn't have any ambition as such. I just got my money, went to work. And then since having Elijah, it's completely changed everything for me because I want to be around for him as long as I can. It's really made me a lot more motivated, and being on Trikafta too has allowed me to look to the future and not be scared of not being there. Honestly, I probably wouldn't do anything different, only because for me, I was lucky and it worked out for me. But I also, before falling pregnant and leading up to knowing I was going to start IVF, I did really start focusing on getting my lung function up. I was running a lot, I was cheering at the time, so I was very fit and active, and my lung function was reflecting that. So when I sort of got to a number that I liked on my PFTs is when I went, yep, I'm going to do it, we're going to go for it while I'm healthy. If the next week or the week before, my lung function had dropped, we probably wouldn't have gone ahead. You know, if you're feeling ready to do it, there is no perfect time to do it. Whether my lung function did drop while I was pregnant and for me, it was all okay. And I think that there's never a right moment. But it is going to be very challenging. It will 100% be worth it in every way.